I will just say studies show that sleeping more than 8 hours a night increases, at least doing it regularly, increases your risk of all-cause mortality. If you find you need 9 hours of sleep a night, it's time to listen to more of what Natalie's sharing. It's time to get your blood test done and figure out why you don't feel amazing after 7 hours of sleep.
Today on Midlife Conversations, I've got my friend Dave Asprey here. Now, he is known as the father of biohacking. And if you don't know what that means, you're going to learn soon because we're going to go deep here. And I could go on and on about his whole resume of New York Times bestselling books, everything that he has introduced to us from like Bulletproof Coffee to amazing products. But his latest book, Smarter, Not Harder, is something we all need to be reading. We all need this book ASAP. I couldn't wait to dive into this topic with him. He's got a lot to share. Thank you so much for being here today, Dave.
Natalie, I love getting a chance to come on your show. Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's start with, there's a lot of people listening that they haven't even heard of the term biohacking, which I know you breathe, sleep, and eat this, but can you explain from your mind, like why you even got into that, why you created that, how you really coined that term? So can you help us understand what that means to you?
Biohacking is a movement with millions of people doing it that started 11 years ago. And the definition, by the way, it's now in Merriam-Webster's dictionary as a new word in our language, and my name's in the dictionary. Definition is the art and science of changing the environment around you so that you have full control of your own biology. It's basically making your body do what you want instead of what it wants to do. And I've been studying that for a very long time. And I've written a New York Times bestselling book on stopping aging called, that one was called Superhuman. And my newest book is called Smarter, Not Harder, which is about getting the results without wasting all of your time. And I'm 50 if you believe in calendar years. I'm 39 if you believe my lab tests, and I'm 13 if you believe my sense of humor. So, I'm a little confused about my actual age, but I know that it's not 50 because I have more energy than I did when I was 25.
And I can fully relate to that because I'm 51 and I totally get what you're saying there.
And I used to weigh 300 pounds as well. I'm 8% body fat today, but I work out 20 minutes a week and I have teenagers. So I could spend all my time. This is what happens with a lot of people when we hit middle age. It's like, okay, I need 2 hours a day. I have to meditate for an hour and I should work out for an hour and I should spend an hour making some sort of weird kale juice or something. And you suddenly realize there was no time left for career and family and community because you were so busy trying to keep your energy. So what I care about is not just having control of your biology, it's having control of your biology in the smallest amount of time possible so that you feel amazing and have the life you want instead of just kind of slowly declining and then spending all of your time fighting the decline. That's not how to age.
I love that you just shared that because I think that's what happens when we start diving into things we can do. We start creating a bigger to-do list. Like I've got to do all these things and it can start feeling so overwhelming because like you said, like who has time to really like meditate 2 hours a day and go do their morning routine? Like we see these things on Instagram and we're like, oh, we have to be implementing all these things.
It's kind of nefarious because we've had it beaten into us since we were young by our teachers and our parents and our churches and TV. Work hard, don't be lazy. Hard work gets results. Think about it. How many people do you know who work really hard and don't get results?
A lot of people.
Actually, most of us on at least some of the time, right? So there isn't a good correlation between working hard and getting results. What I resolved to do was to only do what works and just stop doing everything else. The reason I wrote Smarter, Not Harder is that, I worked out for 702 hours when I was in my early 20s. I weighed 300 pounds. And I said, I have to lose this weight. By the way, this happens a lot more frequently to people who are 50 than when they're in their 20s. So I went on a low fat, low calorie diet, and I did 90 minutes a day, 6 days a week, half weights, half cardio, no matter what. Didn't matter what was happening in my life. That was the most important thing, more important than sleep, more important than friends. It's like, I will go to the gym.
Yeah.
And at the end of that, you'd expect I maybe looked like the 8% body fat version of me now. No, I still weighed 300 pounds. I still had a 46-inch waist. And I was so frustrated. I'm sitting at Carl's Jr. All of my thin friends are eating double Western bacon cheeseburgers and fries. And I'm having the chicken salad with no dressing. Oh, and no chicken because there's too many calories. And I thought to myself, it's because I'm not trying hard enough. And that's how nefarious this idea is. So we're saying, well, I'm gonna have to work hard to defeat aging. No. How about you just do what works and then celebrate with all your new energy and your extra time? That's what I'm doing now. And oh my God, it's possible.
This is so different than your original books because you were the one sharing a lot of these things that we needed to add in and these biohacking tips. So how did you get to this decision and how did you decipher through like what is actually the important things and what is not?
The thing that works around biohacking is be curious, but measure. So one of the most important tools that you can have to just know how you're doing isn't terribly expensive or terribly sexy. And it's a fitness tracker that tells you your sleep. Now, I was a co-founder and CTO of the first company that could get heart rate coming from your wrist. So I've been in that space for a long time. That was before I started Bulletproof. I'm most known for starting Bulletproof Coffee and all of that. Although today, Danger Coffee is my new brand. So this is an Oura ring. There's the Whoop and Fitbit and things like that. It's going to tell you your sleep score. If you want to know how well you did the day before, whether that wine actually ruined your sleep, it does. Whether having that midnight snack was bad for you, it is. You get results right there in the morning, and something called heart rate variability is lower. So if you want to know, did I recover last night? By the way, young people recover. As we age, if we keep recovering, we stay young. So how good a job did I do over the last day and the last night of staying young and of having the energy I want? It's when you wake up, you look at your score and you cannot lie to yourself. You can say, oh, you know, that third glass of wine wasn't a problem. And yes, I'll just have like half a basket of French fries. Well, it's not that you get fat a week later. You can't even measure that very well. What it comes down to is my body's more inflamed. I don't feel very good. The reason I can do this with such accuracy now is that 8 years ago, underneath Arnold Schwarzenegger's office in Santa Monica, I opened Upgrade Labs. And this is the world's first biohacking center. We call it a human upgrade center. It's now a franchise and we're opening across the country. And the idea is you go in, we measure thousands of data points without having to go to the doctor's office. It's an electrical scan. We'll tell you how dense are your bones. Do you have fat in your liver? How are your cells doing? Are you inflamed? Are you dehydrated? And we know in 2 minutes when you walk in the door. And based on that, we tell you, what do you want to do based on your goals? Because it turns out, Natalie, everyone doesn't have the same goal. For me, my biggest goal when I was fat actually wasn't losing the weight. I just wanted my brain to work and I wanted my energy back because I had chronic fatigue syndrome. I was so tired.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I see my friends, as we age, you feel like you're pressing the accelerator all the way to the floor and you're slowing down. You can push harder, but there's nowhere left for the accelerator to go. And it's this feeling of kind of helplessness. It's scary. I just experienced that much earlier than most people. So what we do is we say, what are your goals? Is it energy and weight loss? Is it getting your brain to work again? And I run a neuroscience company. It's one of my companies in my portfolios. I know about brains. And did you want muscles? It turns out if you can just keep some muscles on you, it's not that hard. But if you do it right, what if you read Smarter Not Harder and I teach you how to do it 3 to 5 times faster than picking up rocks at the gym, which is what we've been doing.
Wow.
Or some people want cardio. I want to be able to walk up 3 flights of stairs and play with my kids and not get out of breath. Like that's a thing, right? And other people, more now than ever before, are just saying, I want to be able to manage stress better. And this is largely because of government mistakes over the past 3 years. People are stressed. They don't have jobs. They don't have companies. We haven't recovered fully from the changes in society that were imposed. Yeah. So how do you deal with that? How do you train your nervous system to be more resilient? Well, is there any better definition of aging well than just having enough energy to handle anything life brings your way? Well, those are different goals. So if you come in, where are you now? What matters to you? And I wrote Smarter Not Harder because all you have to do is read the book, figure out which is your most important goal.
Yep.
And which is your next goal, and only do the stuff that works best for that and just ignore the rest of it. Otherwise, you have this honey-do list that's like 25 things. And okay, you're supposed to brush and floss. Okay, most people brush anyway, right?
Yeah, but it is hard to know all the things to do. So walk us through like what is, and obviously I want everyone to go read this and get it clear, but walk us through some of the things that you got to figure out because you were the person that was doing all the things before. So obviously you figured out this is not working. I've got to dial this in. How did you And you said you track to help figure it out, but tracking in itself can create a whole pathway of problems with people. Like, can get obsessive around that. Or so walk us through like how somebody listening starts figuring this out for themselves.
Okay. The first thing you do is you get a sleep tracker, and don't worry about the fitness tracking. The 10,000 steps a day. Do you know where that came from?
Where did that come from?
In 1956, a Japanese company invented the first device that could track your number of steps per day. They made up 10,000 steps a day in order to sell fitness tracker, the first fitness tracker on the planet. And there's never been science for 10,000 steps a day.
So we've all been trying to do the 10,000 for no reason.
Yep. And the studies show, and remember, I was co-founder of a fitness tracker company, right? The studies show that when you walk 10,000 steps a day, you make up for it by eating more.
That's crazy. That's like the old cardio machine problem.
Yeah.
Like the elliptical. That's what that does.
Yeah. It just makes you hungry. So what I recommend you do are the things that move you towards your goal in the shortest possible time. So let's say cardio as an example. Okay. We all know that working hard is important. So since we hate working hard, by the way, it's not that you choose to hate it. It's that your body has been wired by 2 billion years of evolution to not waste calories. It doesn't want to do hard stuff. So it makes hard stuff look really unappealing. And that's why you have a choice between, like, there's a couch and Ben and Jerry's and Netflix, or the gym. And for some reason, the couch looks really sexy and the gym looks really, really like some sort of torture chamber. Now, we know that's not true. And most of us now get guilt because, well, I should want to go to the gym. No, you shouldn't. Your body's trying to keep you from starving to death in case you run out of food. So you'll always not want to go to the gym. You'll always want to take the fastest path, which is why we have airplanes. So laziness is what makes us improve the world around us so we can do less work. Like, someone got tired of walking, so they rode a horse. Someone got tired of shoveling for horses, so they built a car, and then someone built an airplane, and pretty soon we'll be teleporting. All because we're lazy, not because we're bad people because we don't want to go to the gym. So just own it. That's your body doing its thing. You'll never, ever want to, but you will love saying, I'm going to save 45 minutes on my cardio today.
Okay. I love this way of thinking because no one's talking about these things. So this is really good. This is feeling free and like we're getting permission to do things a little bit differently. You mentioned before we started recording that we're kind of like a meat operating system. Can you help me understand that?
There's a system in your body. It's not you. And it influences everything you can see. And it makes some things look better, some things look worse, and it hides other things from us. So I can show you this with a neuroscience company. It's called 40 Years of Zen. I've had 1,500 entrepreneurs come in and do like massive brain upgrades over a 5-day period. So this is real data.
Okay.
When I clap my hands like this, you hear it almost right away. There's a speed of sound thing, right? Well, it turns out if I have electrodes on your brain, a third of a second after the sound happens, your brain gets the first wiggle of a sound. So do you see a third of a second delay?
No.
Neither do I. That means there's a system in there that for a third of a second, it is messing with your reality. And it's deciding whether this was an angry sound or a happy sound, deciding whether you even needed to hear it. And it's running all sorts of things in your body, like it's deciding which things to move around and what valves to squeeze. Well, it filters reality based on a pattern. I call it your meat operating system. And right now it has notifications going off, like on your cell phone all the time, a text from here and a Snapchat from here. And if you don't turn most of that stuff off, you can't even use your phone.
Right.
Your meat operating system that runs your body, it sends alerts all the time. And we hear them as angry voices in our head. We hear them as should be, have to do this, need to do that. That person doesn't like me. I don't like how I look. I'm getting old. I'm too tired. All these dumb messages, they're just alerts from our operating system worried about survival. So if you just recognize that that's there and it's not you, it's just your body trying to save energy, trying to keep you from getting eaten by tigers, you can go in and you can edit the notification settings in your operating system so that you don't get so triggered by your environment all the time. And what you get out of that is peace. But to do this editing, it requires energy. Since most of us are running around with less energy than we want and less energy than probably we're meant to have because of toxins in our environment, poor diets, stress, all that stuff. Well, what do we do to get our energy back? And then how do we use the energy to turn off these notifications? That's been a lot of my work in biohacking. And it turns out by the time you hit middle age, you've probably accumulated enough wisdom to know that sometimes you get triggered and it's actually not the other person's fault. It's because you got triggered.
We did figure that out in midlife. Yes.
Yeah. Like it finally happens. You're like, oh, if I get triggered a lot, it's because I'm carrying a loaded gun and I should take the bullets out. That's what turning off notifications is about. So that you can have this state of like, wow, I decided to be calm and peaceful today and be focused and nothing can take me out of my state. Wow. And that takes energy. So what I'm teaching you in Smarter, Not Harder is how to get your energy back. And then the final 2 chapters, I actually teach people a reset protocol to turn off notifications. And that's based on all that neuroscience. And before we get into that stuff though, I want to give an example of how just freeing this kind of knowledge is.
Okay.
So typical person like me would say, all right, I know I needed to lose weight, so I'll do an hour of cardio 5 days a week. Okay. A lot of people, you're going to commit to that. Maybe it's a New Year's kind of thing. And all right, spin class. So I know that if I do this for 2 months, I'm going to get in shape and I'm going to lose weight. Everything's going to be good. Well, studies show that if you do that, 5 hours a week, not counting showers and sweatiness and, you know, someone yelling at you in a spin class playing Katy Perry or whatever, you're going to improve your cardiovascular capacity by 2%. Okay. That is, let's see, 8 weeks times 5. That's 40 hours, a full work week of sweating.
Yeah.
Okay. 2% improvement. Read my book, Smarter, Not Harder. 15 minutes a week with no sweating allowed, 12% improvement.
Well, like give us how would you do that? Like, how does that happen?
This is one of the several different cardio techniques that just work better than running or getting on a treadmill and running or an exercise bike. This is something called re-HIIT training. And it's based on a new principle in biology that's in the book. It's a very accessible book. It's like, what do I do with this stuff? Not just, knowing about it's cool. And it's based on this idea that the body doesn't change based on how hard you work. In fact, the body hates hard work. It changes based on how quickly you turned on a stress and how quickly you return to baseline. So if you go into an Upgrade Labs, and you can open one in your neighborhood, go to ownandupgradelabs.com, but let's assume that no one's opened one in your neighborhood yet, where we have an AI-driven system that'll do this for you. In the book, I teach you how to do it, and I'm going to teach you right now on the show. You don't even have to buy Smarter, Not Harder to do this. Okay. Most people by now in the world of health have heard of something called HIIT, but a lot of people haven't yet. So we all know if you go for a run, you're supposed to lose weight, not knowing that 80% of people who start running get injured in the first year and stop. But let's say you didn't get injured, so you could jog for 30 minutes. But high intensity interval training says, well, just do 3 or 4 sprints and walk between them, and it works better. It's just less pleasant. Well, re-HIIT, as I wrote about it in Smarter, Not Harder, is based on the idea that you're going to have a very strong stimulus. You're going to tell your operating system, a tiger is about to catch me.
Okay.
But you're only going to do it for 20 or 30 seconds. And then you're going to quickly return to calmness, which tells the body, there was a tiger, now I'm safe. And
so
if you have enough
upgraded HIIT, it's like an upgraded HIIT.
It is like an upgraded HIIT, but here's how you do it in a park. When you're doing it at Upgrade Labs, we have an AI system monitoring your heart rate, and we can guide you with sounds. You're going to go to the park and you're going to walk really slowly for 2 minutes, like you had some THC gummies, like really slower than is comfortable.
Like observing all the trees and stuff.
Yeah, like, wow, look at that, a leaf. Okay. And then with no warning, you're going to sprint as fast and hard as you can, like there's a tiger or a mugger or something behind you.
So you're pretending like you're really in the wilderness.
Yeah,
you're
like
really
full out, as triggered as you can get. Okay, and then as soon as you're done with that 30 seconds, maybe 30, most people 20 seconds is all they can do. You want to stop when you can't do it full output.
Okay.
Like literally, you can't run anymore any faster. So don't do this for a minute. Don't do it for 2 minutes. Probably 20 seconds. And then just lay down on your back and do some deep breathing exercises.
Okay, I'm having flashbacks to one of your books. It was a couple books ago where you were talking about sprinting and then laying down on your back.
Yeah.
That
was the first idea behind re-HIIT. Okay. And that, just to make sure credit's out there, the guy who told me that worked was John Gray from the Mars and Venus series. He was a very, very intelligent guy about a lot of things. And he said, Dave, I noticed this works. And so I wrote about it. I shared it back then, But the reason it works is what is in Smarter, Not Harder.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have
Great
not
memory,
tried
Natalie.
this yet, but because I remember that day I listened to that going, what is he like? I'm going to go sprint and then lay down, but it's starting to make a little bit of sense. I'm just trying to imagine you out in the park when you were practicing this.
Oh, well, I do it with an AI system because, well, I'm lazy. So what?
But I'm thinking
what
when
it
you
looks
first
like,
learned this, like I'm thinking the people were probably like,
Yeah.
what is happening over there?
You
What
have
is
to
he
make sure
doing?
they don't try to give you mouth to mouth, because what's added to re-HIIT, by the way, there's now 2 studies that support this out of the University of Colorado that show 12% improvement versus 2% improvement in a tiny fraction
It's a
of the
big
time.
deal. That's a big difference.
Oh, by the way, 12% improvement in cardiovascular fitness equals 2 additional years of life.
Well, what the reason it's making sense to me is if you think of, like, I'm a fan of exercise that mimics real life, just in general. So like, I've never been a fan of just static machines at the gym. Like, I like functional training. The reason this is making sense for me is it really just does prepare you for real life. Like, think about how we were hundreds of years ago. Like, we make the joke about running from the lion, but if you really needed to do that, or you really had to protect your life, you have to be cardio in shape for that. Walking on the elliptical for 45 minutes is never going to get you there. It's not going to do that.
It doesn't. In fact, what it tells you, what most exercise programs for cardio tell your body is that, oh, you climbed a hill. Okay, that was a tiger chasing you, but you didn't stop. That means the tiger is still chasing you. So now it wasn't an emergency situation. It's a survival situation. You are being hunted. Because you ran up a hill, the tiger's still behind there. So you kept going, and then you ran again, and you kept going, and you ran again. Like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And that's why you only improve by 2% for working hard. But if you do what I'm talking about, you need to do the sprint, you need to drop, and then you need to breathe in and via your mouth, and then breathe out twice as long as the in breath. And that's the trigger that causes the body to rapidly go from fight or flight into rest and reset.
Which is exactly what we would say to just to calm down in general. Like, if you look at breath work, it usually has that mimic.
So it turns out the trick to getting results from exercise is calming down and recovering really quickly. It's not working hard at all. And it's 6 times better. Do you understand how freeing this is, Natalie?
It's super freeing.
15 minutes a week, and you're done with your cardio, and you're 6 times better than your friends who are sweating in the gym.
So you said 15 minutes a week. So do you divide this up, or do you like?
Yeah, it's 3 5-minute sessions. You literally do this in the park.
This is literally, you should have named the book Lazy Man's Workout. Like, that's really what.
No one would believe it. Like, it sounds too good to be true. I didn't pay for these studies. These are like a real university with exercise physiologists. And
so you could kind of do this anyway. You could jump rope. You could do like jump up and down. You could do whatever.
Oh,
as
interesting.
Long as you're intense.
I think you might be able to do it with jump rope. And what you would do then is you would jump rope as fast as you can, probably with weights on. You need to really tell the body like there is not another ounce of energy. Yeah, there's a lion. So get that sign in. And then the trick is drop and rest. And then you're done. You didn't sweat. You didn't do anything. You just, there's a 2-minute gap. You do this 2 times. So 2 20-second intervals is all it takes. And
it sounds like too easy to be true, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to let's see what happens here.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's only 3 times better, despite what the studies say. It's so much better. Like, I will never go on a treadmill for 45 minutes again in my life.
Okay.
Because I like my life.
This is either really genius or really crazy, but I'm going to try it. I'm just curious now.
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
Read the chapter on cardio. There's other stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Let's say that you're a bit of a masochist and you just really love grinding out your cardio. There's a very narrow heart rate. You need a heart rate monitor to do this one, but those are like almost free. These are like $20 or something. So this is called zone 2 training, and it's somewhere slower than jogging, but it's like a fast walk, but you have to monitor it to stay in the right window. That is a zone that actually is the fat burning zone. It's a very narrow zone. And if you do that, it causes your body to grow new mitochondria. These are really important environmental sensing and energy producing parts of your body. As you age, you lose mitochondrial function. That's like the primary thing in my anti-aging book, in my Superhuman book. So when you look at that, you're like, oh, so if I'm willing to do 90 minutes a week of cardio, guys, there's more things. Like, if I have 90 minutes, I'm not going to do cardio. But let's say you're just really into that. If you do zone 2 training and this re-HIIT that I talk about in the book, you're going to save so much time, and none of that exercise helped you lose weight anyway. Like, can I show off my abs as a former 300-pound guy?
Let's do it. For those of you watching the video.
So guys, I am, like I said, I'm 50. So this is, I'm wearing orange wool boxers.
Look at that.
I don't know if you can see that. I'm kind of happy to have this body.
Yeah.
That muscle right there. Like,
So he knows what he's doing.
Anyway.
I see him. Yep.
I set up the lighting. I got a spray tan, all that kind of like, here's the thing. I have stretch marks. You probably didn't see them, but I do because I was obese when I was half my age. And I work out 20 minutes a week in total. I am ripped and my brain works all the time. I sleep 6.5 hours a night and I get 2 hours of deep sleep and 2 hours of REM.
Wow.
Which is
is that another thing in the smarter, not like that you can sleep? Cause I'm like a 10-hour a night sleeper, Dave.
Natalie,
I just love
have
sleep.
you seen the studies?
Well, I do. I make sure my deep is okay and my REM. I just love sleep.
I know, but here's the thing. They've done 3 detailed studies with more than 1 million people over time. And all of them show that people who sleep 8 hours a night die more from all-cause mortality than people 6.5 hours a night.
I have not read that.
Yeah, the healthiest people.
Do I need to wake myself up now after?
No. It means though, if you need 10 hours of sleep a night.
I don't need it. I just like it.
Okay.
I don't need it. I'm up earlier. I just like to stay in bed and go.
So is this like, I like chocolate, but I don't need chocolate kind of thing? Or?
Yeah, I just really get excited about sleep. I'm like, I get excited about it.
Okay.
I'm like, it's time to go to sleep.
So I will just say studies show that sleeping more than 8 hours a night increases, at least doing it regularly, increases your risk of all-cause mortality. That's usually though, because people who need a lot of sleep have something wrong that they don't know about. So and I'll just say, anyone listening, if you find you need 9 hours of sleep a night, it's time to listen to more of what Natalie's sharing. It's time to get your blood test done and figure out why you don't feel amazing after 7 hours of sleep.
So here's the thing. I do actually feel amazing after 7. Like I could get up, like I have a flight early tomorrow morning and I will get up and it'll be amazing. I just enjoy it.
So then you're just lazy is what you're saying.
I'm a snoozer. I just like to be, I like to be a little lazy in bed. That's all.
You can tell most people get triggered when you say lazy.
No, I don't care. I don't know.
But here's the thing. The lazier you are, the more successful you are. Because the unsuccessful people work really hard all the time. And successful people are like, I didn't want to do that. So I found a better way. Yeah. I hired someone. I got help. I took a shortcut. Yeah. So
I own it. I'm fine with that.
And me too. We're both lazy. That's why we're so successful.
That might be my next book, The Lazy Way to Sleep.
I love it.
The lazy way to get rich. I don't know. The lazy way to be healthy.
And a lot of listeners, people start realizing they have serious sleep problems, usually in their 40s. And sometimes it's been there your whole life. I was the guy who, no matter how much I slept, would get 5 minutes of deep sleep every night. And you should have 90 minutes to 2 hours.
I was that when I started wearing an Oura ring, for sure. Okay. And I'm definitely 2 hours now. So I fixed that.
So you fixed it. Yeah, I fixed that. Yeah. And what you realize too is that if you do say this kind of cardio, or there's one for muscles, there's one for brain, like there's a bunch of things that just work better than the way we used to do it. So if you put that signal in to change the body, but then you don't have enough energy because you're under eating, which happens to people, especially women, they're trying to lose weight. So they just don't eat enough calories, or they don't get enough protein, or sometimes, and this is a chapter in Smarter, Not Harder, if you don't have minerals, your body just can't do anything it's supposed to do. So there's a supplement I talk about. It's called Vitamin Dake, D-A-K-E. And if you go to vitamindake.com, it's there. And this is a combination of specific forms of vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin K, and vitamin E. And you take those and you take minerals, and it's a broad spectrum mineral. It's called Minerals 101, but you take those together. Fat soluble vitamins tell your body where to put minerals. So when you have minerals and you have fat soluble vitamins, you can keep your bones so you don't get osteoporosis. You can make ATP so you can think and pay attention, and you can make collagen so that your skin looks good. And if you're low on minerals and you're taking some expensive supplement for libido or for anti-aging, and you don't have your zinc and your copper and your magnesium and all the other ones like that, chromium and vanadium, your body just won't do the basics. These are cheap. It's like $20 a month for a normal dose of vitamin Dake at vitamindake.com.
Okay.
And you do that, and then all of a sudden everything else starts working better. What I want for listeners to do, if you spend 1 minute making your body do something hard, you should get a return for that by your body improving. And to do it, you better set yourself up with minerals, good quality protein, good quality fat, and enough carbs that aren't like super sugar bombs. And if you do that, like, wow, that was easy. And I just want to live in the that was easy world, not in the if I work hard, I'll be a more
I love this shift in you because I the last time I think I interviewed you, it was a couple years ago, and you were a different person then. Like you already were in the biohacking space, you were doing a lot of things, but what then I took away from was like this whole list of things and like, oh my gosh, how can I do all those things? And I love this like transition to wait, I'm like, it's almost like I don't have time for this. Like this is making this a lot easier. And you're in better shape now and you have more calm, focused energy like than I've ever seen. So obviously it's working. So
that's the drugs.
That's the drugs. But you've obviously figured something out. So I love it. So I think this is such a cool concept. So, okay, everyone, you got to go get this book. Where do you want them to go to get it? I know they can get it anywhere, but is there a specific place you want them to go to get it? Like
if you go to daveasprey.com, then it's got everything you'd want to know about the book. So you can go there or, go to an indie bookstore. It's nice to have small businesses in our world.
Yes.
So if you can support those guys, that's great. But otherwise, like you're going to pick up your phone and order it from wherever you like to buy stuff. And there's like 3 or 4 sites you're welcome to. So support booksellers.
Support them. Thank you so much.
Not harder.
Smarter, not harder. Everyone go get the book. I'm going to be the crazy one outside doing this little sprint thing and then be all zen. And we're going to see how it goes. I'm going to report back.
All right.
I'm going to report back. This is good. Thank you so much, Dave.
You got it. Thanks.